Guys, let's get 500 likes and I'll release the next part. The girl claims that this is just superstition. She also notices that the young man's head is already full of thoughts about supernatural phenomena at his age. For her, this becomes a wake-up call, so the servant of the law claims that even if there are no problems with him, she will still have to do a good job of his ideological education. The friend notes that education will not help such people, because the guy came from the village and there is a chance that he did not even go to the middle class. At the same time, the man shows the girl the hero's identity card. Representative of the beautiful Paula doesn't share his opinion. She encourages her partner to choose their expressions, because even if they talk about a suspect, they must maintain a minimum of politeness. The sun is sinking below the horizon. The police start to panic. The man nervously says that they came out on a road that could have been completed in half an hour, having spent as much as 4 hours, but they again found themselves in the same place. The policeman clutches his head, emphasizing that they've already tried everything, which makes him ready to believe that this place is really unusual. The girl does not fully believe in this, stating that they definitely made a mistake somewhere. Luo Chen realizes that this girl was really unyielding, because she stubbornly dragged them here until the evening. The guy understands that it's about 5 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and those guys can appear at any moment. The hero approaches the police and demands to remove the handcuffs. He warns them that if they want to get out, they must do as he says. The girl is ready to agree to this, but the harsh light hits her eyes, attracting attention. A taxi pulls up to them, in which the same missing driver is sitting. A grumpy cop steps forward. He doesn't know how the taxi got here, or why it was so late in the first place. The taxi driver says that he just gave a ride to a neighboring city and thought that it would be unprofitable to go back with an empty transport, and he was just passing this beautiful place, which is why he decided to stop by and see if anyone was there. The third policeman puts a hand on his colleague's shoulder. He notices that it's not a good idea to continue walking around in circles here, so they'd better try going with him. The interviewee admits that this makes sense. After that, he turns to the driver, specifying whether he will give them a ride to the parking lot at the tourist center, otherwise they left their official car there. A colleague calls the girl, offering to get in the car and go. Luo Chen also warns that if she doesn't want to die, then she shouldn't go, because that driver is already dead. They don't understand why others hesitate. He decides to stop by the salon. There, the guy discovers a taxi driver's license. He becomes familiar with the name Zhang Liu. He recalls that just this morning he was told that a man had found a body in the Longwen district. The policeman shivers, and the dead man turns his head sharply toward him. At this time, the girl chastises the hero, stating that if he once again puts forward his ideas about spirits and interferes with the execution of the law, then, in accordance with the law, she will arrest him. At this moment, a heart-rending scream is heard from the taxi. The cop doesn't understand what's going on. She pulls out her gun, urging Luo Chen to stand still and not move while she goes to take a look. The hero mentally notes that it is difficult to convince a person who is destined to die with good words. A dead taxi driver crawls out of the car window, saying that the passenger should not run away because he will give him a ride. The police officer is in a state of shock. He calls for help. The girl intervenes. She's trying to figure out what's going on. A representative of the fair sex points a weapon at the monster, warning that an attack on the person during the execution, this is a serious crime. The taxi driver turns his head 180 degrees, noticing the beauty. At this moment, a third policeman appears behind the girl, who, apparently, has long been dead. She doesn't know what's going on. At this time, Luo Chen takes off the handcuffs, mentally noting that it is difficult to adapt to the feeling of complete restriction. He decides to think carefully about finding the spirit seeds after he returns. Then the hero feels the appearance of someone behind him. He looks around and sees the woman who gave him the map. Luo Chen realizes that this is a spirit connected to the earth. The guy decides to hurry up the interlocutor, specifying what is the matter. The same one asks him to help those young people, otherwise they will die. The hero turns around, saying that he can't do it. The woman bows her head in despair. Luo Chen also points out that it's not morning after all, so if she doesn't want to be eaten away by the evil aura and become an evil spirit, then she should immediately disappear. The interlocutor also notices that if the guy is able to understand that drawing, then he must have a way to save them. She doesn't want to let people die in this place. Luo Chen, on the other hand, doesn't understand what method he's talking about. He also notes that he has no reason to show his secret trump card here. The woman lets out her aura, trying to get her own way. The hero is not inferior to her. At this time, the police officer pushes the attacker away from her, after which she recognizes him as Lao Lo, her comrade. The second policeman asks his partner to save him. The guy is in a difficult situation. The monster driver was already climbing on top of him, about to sink its sharp teeth into his flesh. A representative of the fair sex makes a shot in the back of evil spirits, because of which the latter falls to the ground. She runs up to her friend, wanting to help him up, but he pushes her away, starting to run away in a panic. The policewoman wakes up in a moment. Both monsters had already taken aim at her. The girl shivers as she sees the monsters moving towards her. She demands that they don't fit. Those who ignore her order continue to move. Then she opens fire. 2 bullets hit a former taxi driver. One caters to the stomach and the other to the left side of the chest. But this does not stop the monster. The police officer doesn't understand how this is possible, because she was hit right in the heart. Even before her death, she believes that somewhere she just made a mistake. Tears trickle down her cheeks. The monster raises its hand to kill her, but Luo Chen intervenes. He cuts down one of the monsters, which then turns to dust. The second evil spirit does not understand who he is. The hero also gives him 3 seconds to thoroughly remember the wonderful time when he was a man. The monster puts his hands out in front of him, asking him to wait, but Luo Chen says that time is up. After that, he dispels the monster with a wave of his hand. The hero orders the girls to go to him. She tries to get to her feet, but she can't do it. Apparently, due to a bad fall, she injured her leg. Luo Chen exhales heavily, but still scoops up the policewoman in his arms. She wants to say something, blushing with embarrassment, but the guy demands that she stop talking. During the journey, she decides to question her savior. She asks the following questions. Who is he? How did he remove the handcuffs? What happened to the other 2? What did he just do with them? Luo Chen doesn't want to answer so many questions, so he says that he will only answer one, so the girls should think carefully. Then a representative of the fair sex asks how they can get out of here. The guy also recalls a recent conversation with the spirit. The place where the 9 evil spirits generate yin is a seal that concentrates the spirits and locks up the souls of the dead. Everyone who was killed here became evil spirits. And when the number of evil spirits reaches 90, the king of evil spirits will be incarnated. If these people are absorbed by the evil aura, then the local master will awaken. By that time, even if the hero's skill level becomes even higher, he should not think that he will be able to get out of this situation in one piece. The hero then realizes that the interlocutor wants to force to save people. He admits that he is very sorry, but judging from what he has just encountered, this magic seal is striving to form, and it has very little left. It can be said that even the earth spirit is here. It is necessary to turn into evil spirits, but this will not affect him in any way. Then the woman asks what the hero will do if this magic seal also holds back the dragon veins. Luo Chen runs into the house with the police officer in his arms. He demands that she get off by simply stretching out her arms. The same one asks you to do it easier. When the girl is on her feet, she looks around, realizing that they are in some old house. She decides to clarify why the savior brought her here. The brunette asks her to be quiet, explaining that they won't be able to leave tonight. This surprises the fair sex, and the hero admires the appearance of a powerful stream of scarlet energy that hits the sky. Luo Chen says that the police officer will stay in the house tonight. He instructs her not to leave it a single step until dawn. The guy snaps 2 fingers, creating a defense. The girl ceases to understand anything, so she demands an explanation. The hero says that he has no normal explanations, but only superstitions. This angers the cop, but she accepts the fact that the guy was very vindictive. She recalls recent events, admitting that they are simply incomprehensible to the mind, even though she's experienced it firsthand. She still can't believe that the supernatural forces can actually exist. The girl decides that tomorrow she needs to submit a petition to the General Directorate of Law Enforcement to raise the level of investigation of the Longwen district to the highest. She believes that it is necessary to make everything secret explicit. Then she notices that the guy has opened the door. The girl is in a hurry to find out where he is going. Luo Chen explains that he is going to rescue her partner. The police officer recalls that Commander Zhu ran away from her. She swallows her pride as she asks if the guy will be back. The hero does not give an answer, closing the door behind him. Outside, Luo Chen realizes that the earthbound spirit did not lie, although his divine Kai hasn't been awakened yet, and he can't sense the faint energy of heaven and earth. However, judging from the signs of this spirit seed's rebirth, it's safe to say that there are indeed dragon veins in this place. If originally each of the evil spirits and the 9 evil spirits focusing seal needed to be corrupted by at least 10 evil spirits to activate the seal, now, due to the influence of the dragon veins, they would only need half of the original amount to complete the ritual. The hero is attacked by one of the monsters. He easily dodges its attack, and then deals with it with a single swipe of his finger. After that, other monsters run to the sounds of battle. He recalls Xia Jingjing's words, according to which, to date, there are only 40 cases in the Panlongwen district, case 3 victims. If you add poor Luo, there are 44 law enforcement officers. Thus, the last evil spirit is missing to form the 9 evil spirits connection. If at least one more person is damaged by the evil aura and turns into evil spirits, then everything will get out of control. He's glad the girl hid in that wooden hut. Emperor Wuji's remaining strength is enough to make it impossible for these vermin to even come close to him. The biggest problem right now is the missing guy. Luo Chen provokes a mob of evil spirits to attack him. At the same time, the police officer gets to a strange pole in the building, which is shrouded in a strange energy, and on it there are several seals in the form of pieces of paper. The guy doesn't understand what it is. In fact, this is the king of evil spirits. At this time of night, someone calls. Her father is very worried about her, so he doesn't understand where she ran off to again at 11:30 in the morning. She tries to explain that she has already sent him a text message saying that she is on an overtime shift at the department, which is why she will not return home this evening. The man also emphasizes that right now he is in their control. He focuses on the fact that the girl is getting bolder and bolder since she dared to arbitrarily exceed her authority and lead the group. Her father gives her 30 minutes to get home, or he'll have them all suspended. The boss is no exception. The girl wants her father to listen to her, but he hangs up. She kicks the furniture in anger, then notices that her leg doesn't hurt anymore. She thinks about what she should do. A representative of the fair sex is aware that the man said that you cannot go out until dawn. But if she continues to hang around here, then her professional career will end there. She recalls Confucius saying that he didn't talk about supernatural things. She decides to leave the house. Here the girl is not allowed to leave the spirit of the earth, which pushes her away, closing the exit. The woman declares to herself that you cannot go outside, because it is very dangerous. No matter how, they need to wait out this evening. The spirit realizes that this girl is a good person. In addition, she has a celestial with her, so she must be protected. The policeman decides to find out who is in front of her. The spirit is a little surprised that the interlocutor can see it. The woman realizes that she has not seen her before, which leads to the conclusion that the boy did something to her. The woman recognizes the girl as Miss Xia, and the latter is shocked, not understanding how the woman opposite can be alive. At the same time, a police officer runs away from one monster, asking for help from at least someone. He tries to hide around the corner, but there's another thing waiting for him. He shouts that they don't respect military morals at all. Realizing that he is cornered and has nothing left to lose, he decides to fight to the end. A man with fists and tears in his eyes pounces on one of the monsters. He strikes the body with his eyes closed. Nothing happens for a few moments, and then he opens his eyes. The monster turns to dust before our eyes. The guy thinks that his opponents are very weak, or he is very strong. At this point, someone reaches back by the scruff of the neck of the policeman. The hero reacts in time, leading the person away from the blow of the next monster. Luo Chen calls the guy an idiot, and then kills the second monster. The hero approaches the post. The hidden dragon is coiled up in a pool. Evil spirits are hiding behind a mountain range, relying on immature dragon veins that have been accumulating for 100 years. Now only one sacrifice is missing, and then it will be possible to combine the accumulated souls into flesh and return to life, violating the laws of nature. It's just a pity that he made a mistake in choosing the location, since this piece of land belongs to Luo Chen, who wouldn't be allowed to leave a pest like him behind. And these dragon veins would be the first nutrient to awaken his inner divine Kai. The hero is going to finish what he started. At the same time, a police squad enters the territory of this area. The head of the department orders everyone to search separately, so that they will definitely find them today. The two guys start a conversation among themselves. It turns out that Xia Jingjing is the eldest daughter of a famous family. One of the guys doesn't understand why she should risk herself so much by pointing out that she doesn't have any connection. A colleague suggests that the girl wanted to prove that she herself is capable of something. A friend notices that this is a very unwise approach with her position, because it would be better for her to find a groom early. A colleague asks a friend if he has any chances. The interlocutor turns around, stating that if only in his distant dreams. At this moment, an ominous figure appears in front of the policeman. The guy wants to warn his partner, but doesn't have time. The monster touches it, activating the seal. At this point, a dark hand is directed towards the hero. Events go back a week. It turns out that the woman came to the police about the loss of her son. His name was Zhao Jiasheng. He was 29 years old. He graduated from the University of Architecture and worked as a chief design engineer for a hotel in the Panlongwen district. She said that her son disappeared a week ago and did not respond to calls and messages. Her husband passed away early, and her son had to share all the hardships and losses with her since childhood. But he was always very reasonable and never gave any reason to worry. Previously, when he was busy at work, it was still through I've been calling for 2 days, and now I haven't been in touch for several days. The police officer also asked her mother not to worry, because as soon as they registered all the data and confirmed that there were no errors, they would be able to request video monitoring throughout the city, so they would find it very quickly. The woman is about to leave, but the policeman stops her. She had just looked at the data on her son, from which she concluded that the living conditions for their family should be quite good. The woman explains that she cannot spend the money that her son earned without sparing his life. After a while, the girl comes to his supervisor, who has no authority to investigate without any reason, even though the surveillance system has shown that the person disappeared near the Panlongwen area. The man asks that the subordinate not get excited. It's all about the Panlongwen area itself, which is considered a strange place. The authorities have long sealed it, and it is not known when this ban will be lifted. Plus, it's been 10 days and the person hasn't returned. The boss says it doesn't bode well. These words make the girl angry. She doesn't want to be left out because there was only a mother and son in that family. They were each other's mainstay, and now they are the only hope. The representative of the fair sex notes that people disappear without a trace in the territory under their jurisdiction, so they simply have to find them. The man decides to go all in. If the girl now calls her father, and he agrees, he will immediately apply for a temporary lifting of the ban and allocate her their investigators. The girl doesn't understand why she has to call her father for this. She focuses on the fact that people are disappearing there, so it really doesn't bode well. The boss turns away, saying that she will have to find a way to do it herself, because he will not dare to take on such a responsibility. The police officer turns around, claiming that she herself will go to the main department to ask for authority to investigate. The man decides to say that the day before yesterday that woman came again, and he sent her out, so she will not come again, so the subordinate may not bear this psychological burden. The girl sees two colleagues carrying the body for examination. Commander Zhu says that this is the body of a deceased woman, which was discovered by fishermen on the beach this morning. According to preliminary reports, the place of death should be in the Panlongwen area, but it is not known what the woman was doing there. A colleague shows a photo of the deceased police officer. Commander Zhu asks that the girl then search the system for information about the deceased. The photo shows the same woman who came to her a few days ago about the loss of her son. The policewoman's hands are shaking. She vows that she will conduct a thorough investigation into the case. At the same time, the hero blocks the strike of a new enemy. This causes him to fly back a couple of meters, dropping to one knee. The unknown man says that his flesh and blood were separated, imprisoned in a grave, and he was a rotting corpse for more than 600 years. He asks two guys if they know what kind of flower it is. A policeman intervenes in the conversation. He believes his ears and eyes. The awakened dead person takes this as a gesture of arrogance. He also heard the hero trying to take over his powers that he had been saving up for 100 years. This crime deserves the highest punishment. Luo Chen takes the King of Evil's blow on himself. The latter is amazed that the enemy was able to avoid hitting a vulnerable spot twice in a row. But in spite of with Luo Chen's strength, it's still being driven into the wall. The entity acknowledges that if the opponent had appeared a couple of days earlier, they would have been considered a worthy opponent. The hero's glasses fall off his face. He admits that he is really a little sorry, because initially he wanted to wait until the spiritual seed is fully restored, and then gradually direct his spiritual forces to awakening. He climbs out of the wall, stretching his arms and declaring that he rarely gets the chance to meet a good target, so it's time to test his abilities after waking up. A golden circle of energy appears under the guy. The enemy initially assumes that the guy has awakened his divine Kai right now, but then begins to consider all this nonsense, because it took him more than 30 years to use the great power of Yin to awaken divine Kai. Luo Chen folds the seal of concentration. It is enveloped in streams of golden energy, which is becoming more and more every second. The King of Evil Spirits realizes that the opponent wasn't joking about the awakening at all. He takes off, intending to kill the impudent man before his awakening is over.